Today's a great victory. It's a great victory for Sean Combs. It's a great victory for the jury system. You saw that the Southern District of New York prosecutors came at him with all that they had. They're not stopping, but one thing stands between all of us and a prison, and that is a jury of 12 citizens. And we had a wonderful jury. They listened to every word, and they got the situation right, or certainly right enough.
It was a huge victory for Diddy Combs, but he wasn't released from jail. He was convicted of the most minor of all the charges. His sentencing is scheduled for October, but he's been trying desperately to get out of jail, pending his sentencing. And guess who's coming to his aid? One of the alleged victims in the case, who wrote a letter. Take a listen as one of our producers reads that letter to the judge.
My name is Virginia Hoon, and I'm writing as the person identified as victim 3 in this case. I have known Sean Combs for many years, in both a personal and professional capacity. From that experience, I have seen him primarily as a father, a family man, and a businessman, roles that he has always striven to uphold. I provide this letter to share my observations about his character and to respectfully request that the court permit his release on bond while the case proceeds. Our relationship, like many, was not always perfect. We experienced ups and downs, and mistakes were made, but he was willing to acknowledge his mistakes and make better decisions in the future. Over the years that followed, he made visible efforts to become a better person and to address the harm he had caused. By the time our relationship ended, he embodied an energy of love, patience, and gentleness that was markedly different from his past behavior. To my knowledge, he has not been violent for many years, and he has committed to being a father first. I am writing because I do not view Mr. Combs as a danger to me or to the community. I want to assure the court that if released, I believe Mr. Combs will adhere to all conditions imposed and will not jeopardize his freedom or the well-being of his family. Respectfully, Virginia Hoon.
Now, despite that effort and, wanting to post tens of millions of dollars and all the conditions, take a look at what happened. The judge denied it. The motion for bail is denied, so ordered, dated August 4th, 2025. Let's bring back in our think tank, Al Wunsch, Darnell Cross, and Jennifer Brandt. The judge doesn't want to let him out, so that's not going to happen. Like, they've tried everything. But what does it tell us, Darnell, right now about what's happening here if you've got a jury that comes back and dismisses almost all the charges except the trafficking of the male prostitutes who were flown in to have sex, to get paid to have sex with his girlfriends, right? That's what he got convicted of. Not guilty of everything else. One of the alleged victims now writing letters to the judge on his behalf. What's going on here?
Well, first of all, this is ridiculous. If you remember the boxer Jack Johnson, he was arrested under the Same Man Act because he would cross state lines with white women, and they didn't want that. And famously, you could read, he's flying down the road with the white woman in the car, and the police stop him. They say, we got to give you a ticket. He says, how much? They said $100. He said, here's $200. I'll be back in an hour, same speed. This is a ticket. No one gets prosecuted for this Mann Act. And the only reason why he's in jail now is because they say technically that there's a presumption that under that charge, bail is supposed to be denied. Not that he's a danger, but there's a carve out that says this is not a bailable offense. But other than that, I mean, he should be home. This judge, I think, is upset that he beat the major charges, and a lot of people just can't believe it. And I hate to say, but the courts, if they're cheering for one side or the other, this is the time for them to show their power and say, hey, we want this side. This, at least we can do is keep you in. And I think that's what this is about.
Al, I'm not a Diddy fan, and no one believes that any of this behavior was correct, but we have to evaluate our system day in and day out. Is this the way it normally goes? This is how it goes? You fly a male prostitute in, you pay him, and then he has sex with your girlfriend, and then you go to prison for years?
It's a violation of the law, and he was convicted.
Where
of
are the
it.
feds on
And
Super Bowl
there is a
weekend?
carve-out.
Why don't they do something on Super Bowl weekend? You know how many prostitutes are flown into the Super Bowl city every year? Are we going to arrest all of those men and send them to federal prison?
This was part of the charges. This wasn't the only charges he was charged with, as we know. There were a lot more serious charges against him, the trafficking and all those things along those lines, which the jury did not find him to be guilty of. They did find he was guilty of this. There is a carve-out that says he's not entitled to bail. Why would he be given special treatment just because he gets a letter? And in fact, that letter was kind of bizarre, too, because she refers to him as accused. He's a little past the accused stage at this point. He's convicted. So under the circumstances,
But again, convicted
they
of
followed the law.
Convicted of what? Is I guess really what we're talking about. Like,
Convicted of the violation of the Mann Act. He's convicted of the violation of the Mann Act. He is not accused anymore, Vinny. He's a convicted felon.
But I mean, I've seen people in the news. One of them was, I think, the son of a president. Did the same thing. Nothing happens. Like, what's going on? Is this selective prosecution? Why Diddy, Jennifer Brandt? I'm not, and again, I'm not a Diddy fan. Don't like the behavior. Like, all this stuff is crazy. But I'm just going by, like, how our system treats everyone with a blindfold. Is that happening here, Jennifer Brandt?
Yeah. Well, we know it's not a blindfold, and I think the judge is trying to make a lesson and try to give everyone a lesson out of him. He's well known. He's, there was a lot of attention on this trial. It's not a bailable offense, so the judge is taking a hard line and saying, no, you'll stay in jail until the sentencing, and then we'll, see what happens from there. They're not going to give him special treatment, and I think it's because of his fame that it's hurting him at this point, not helping him.
So, Darnell, is this sort of a prelude to what's going to happen to him at sentencing? That he's going to get the high end of all this? Because it's quite a range and the prosecution defense not even close to agreeing in the amount of time here.
Well, that's the funny thing about this. When you pray, as a practicing attorney, you must learn to pray. And when you pray, your prayers sound like this. I hope and pray that he denied this bail because he's given the prosecution this card, given one for them by keeping them in, and then when the sentencing come, let him go. Because sometimes when you're getting yelled at and screamed at a certain juncture in the proceeding, you may get some sunshine at the other side. Even though other times you're getting loved and you see all this love, and then boom, you get hammered at the end. So I'm hoping and praying, and I'm sure other people are as well, because I don't agree with this Mann Act charge. So if he's leaving him in now to give him a little bit of a punishment, the weekend jail, sometimes we ask judge, can you just raise my client's bond, put him in for a weekend, give him let him get the point, and then reduce the bond so he's not convicted. Maybe this is one of those plays. So I'm hoping that's what it is, but we have to wait and see.
Let me ask you, Al, who's the victim in his crime?
The girlfriends. But they didn't, the woman that wrote the letter didn't testify.
Right.
So, that's the situation
so
here.
So for the Mann Act, the victim is the person who the prostitute was paid to have sex with?
No, it's you're talking about with regards to the victim of the Mann Act. The victim in the Mann Act would be the fact that it was money procured to bring someone over for the purpose of having sex with someone who may have been against their will.
But he wasn't convicted. It wasn't convicted of against their will.
But that was what he was charged with, though. So that's part and parcel of that offense. It's a lesser included offense as to what he was charged with.
All right.
Look, you know what? The bottom line is this: I don't disagree. I don't disagree with Darnell that what's happened in the past with regards to this, especially with regards to African American defendants, is not right, and it has been a horrendous situation. But he was convicted of this offense. It does not give him bail, and the judge is being the law.
Time. Al Wunsch, Darnell Cross, and Jennifer Brandt. Thank you all so much.